Hi everyone, I'm Symone and thank you for tuning into my channel. So today's video is going to be about like how I moved to Colombia, kind of intertwined with financial literacy in general, because I know that's an area that a lot of people struggle. And so tons of people have been asking, how did I afford to move to Colombia? Am I working? Like all these things. So we're going to get into that, and then I'm going to give you some tips on like how I've saved my money and been able to have basically like financial freedom to be able to just do whatever I want. So let's get into it. So the number one The number one question people ask me is how, like, not only how did I afford to move, I guess, but they want to know if I saved specifically to move out of the country. And for me, no, personally, I didn't. I just already had savings set up that wasn't for any particular thing, but just because I decided to take a break from working and I knew that I had enough money to be able to just take like an infinite break for however long I felt like it, I just went ahead and did that just because I wanted to see something new. I wanted to continue to learn Spanish. I've been trying to learn for like 3 years, so I really wanted to immerse myself in a culture that I would be forced to practice more with my Spanish. And furthermore, I've always been like a just do it type of girl, because I don't know, I feel like the only thing usually, but outside of finances, like the only thing separating me from anyone else is the fact that I just actually did it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's nothing special about, I mean there is something special about me, but you know what I mean? Like there's nothing that separates us from doing whatever we want to do besides actually making a plan and executing it. Like I think a lot of the times people let the fear of the unknown get in their way of actually doing the thing that they want to do. And so then because they're like scared to do it, or they think they can't, then they don't actually create a plan. They're just like, oh well, I want to do it, but like I don't think I can, and then they just don't. Whereas if I want to do it, I feel like we're gonna find a way to get it done, because I was just tired of working. So I'm like, why not? And I do technically, I guess, have to mention that I'm not actually debt free because of those student loans. But we over here, meaning me, myself, and I, like to act like those do not exist. So I don't know, I just feel like my student loans do not affect my life at all. Like my credit score is still literally excellent. It hasn't prevented me from getting anything that I've wanted thus far. It doesn't affect my life at all. So I feel like really the government can worry about that, because why aren't nurses' student loans already paid off anyways? So I guess technically I'm not debt free, but other than that, like I don't have any credit card debt. I don't have any like personal loans or anything like that. I've just been always really good at saving and making sure that I have enough funds to like do the things that I actually want to do. So I'll get into a little bit of like how I do that. So as far as my actual money, I have a lot of accounts, and the way that I split my money up, I feel like really makes sense for me. So if it sounds like something that would work for you, I say go for it, because I love it. Currently I have 2 banks. At bank A, we'll call bank A, I have 5 accounts at bank A. One of them is technically a credit card, so 2 checking, 2 savings, and a credit card. So we'll right now focus on the checkings and the savings. And then at bank B, I have 1 checking and 1 savings. So when I would get paid, I would have part of my money split to bank A, part of it split to bank B. And then after the money is split between the banks, then I would right away transfer money directly into my savings, both savings over here and the savings over here. So I think that just helps me, because like bank A over here, my first account is solely for bills. Second account is just like basically whatever, just like throwaway money, like money that I can just do whatever I want with. If you want to get your nails done, if you're the type that likes to go to the spa, if you like to get your hair done, whatever, all of those activities are coming out of this account. Whereas like groceries, like electric bill, gas, whatever else is coming out of this account. And then the 2 savings over here, the first savings is my emergency savings. That one I don't touch. I have literally never once used money out of that account ever since I've had it. Now, at least not in my adult life. Like I might have while I was still like a poor college student, maybe. But yeah, in my adult life, I have never used money out of that yet. And then the second savings account is solely for vacations. Then over here, this is like my house. These are my house accounts, quote unquote, because I am a homeowner. So over here, this checking account is where I pay like my mortgage out of. And this savings account over here is where I pay anything that could happen in the house that you're not necessarily prepared for. That money would come out of that bank savings account. So if I needed a new fridge, if we need to replace the carpet, if we need a couch, whatever, that money is gonna come out of this savings over here. And I feel like when I have my money separated like that, it just makes so much more sense to my brain, because if you log into your account and let's say, even when I was in college, and let's say like the most money I ever had in my account was like $1,000 or something, I probably felt rich with that $1,000 instead of like splitting it up to know that, hey, actually 800 of this is gonna have to go towards bills between your $500 rent that you're splitting with a roommate. Well, like the rent was like 1,000, but let's say, you know, it's 500 each, plus groceries, the bills for the house and stuff like that. You really might only have like $200 left over. So I didn't want to have to see like $1,000 in my account and then be trying to portion out in my head, like if I wanted to go get Chipotle or if I wanted to whatever, like can I actually afford this, or am I going to end up overdrafting my account once my bills come out or whatever. I never wanted to have to deal with that, so I always just have split up my money, because then if I only have $150 in that account that I'm allowed to spend anything out of, quote unquote, then you don't really have to do as much mental gymnastics when you're out and want to spend money, versus if you have all of your money in one account. That's just what works for me, and I love it that way. I don't know, I really feel like that's helpful. That's what's been the most helpful for me so far. And I know people are like, well, you make good money, so you can do that now and XYZ, but you can start small. Like I promise y'all, I was a poor college student. I had 5 jobs in college, not all at the same time, but I did have 5 separate jobs, one of which I had for 3 years. And the other few that I was like working on weekends, summertime, all this, and I still was probably only getting paid like maybe $250, $300 every 2 weeks. And I was having to make that work. Not what I was getting help, but I was also just having to make that money stretch for all of my bills, anything that has to do with the house, plus my groceries, food, gas. Like I was doing clinicals in college. Our clinicals were far away. Like I was just having to make that money stretch. And so even from then, I have always been doing the same thing where I split my money up like that and just make sure that I'm really careful about the way that I spend. And I always prioritized saving, because I just never wanted to be in a situation again, especially after graduating, where like you're living so paycheck to paycheck to the point where like you just can't even enjoy your life. I feel like I hated that feeling, having to think, if I'm literally at the dollar store and I need to buy $15 worth of stuff, having to think like, can I even swipe this card for $15 right now, or am I gonna get embarrassed? You know what I mean? Like that's why I always prioritized saving, so that I could make sure that I would not end up in that same cycle for the rest of my life. So with my first nursing job, like I really at one point thought like, ooh, like I'm rich now. I was making $20 an hour. I was nowhere near rich. That is literally like $40,000 a year or something. Like I don't feel like doing the math on that right now, but it's not that much money. And I don't want to say that to minimize what other people make, because like that is a lot of money to some people, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, when you're paying like, you know, if you're paying for a car and your rent and insurance and all these bills, I can't even imagine the people that had kids. Like, but I definitely thought like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna be rich now. But when I first started working as a nurse, I should say, when I first got my first professional job, I was still poor. Like I had saved up only enough money to basically pay the security deposit and all that stuff on my apartment to be able to get in. And then I had no furniture. I was literally sleeping on the floor of my apartment, no bed, no couch, no nothing, for like 3 months before one of my friends finally like lent me a blow up bed, which that kind of changed my life, because I didn't even have food. Like I remember opening the fridge, I literally had like ketchup in the fridge, butter, and maybe some bread. Like I was just like so poor starting out that I was just like, yeah, I'm I'm not trying to live like this. So when I started getting like my big girl paychecks, quote unquote, I was like, okay, well, if I could live off of $500 every 2 weeks, I can certainly live off of $1,000 every 2 weeks, or like whatever the difference was in my pay. You know what I mean? So from then, I just started saving like probably 50% of my paycheck, if not more. Like I was just in hyperdrive, save mode, so that I would be able to do the things that I want to do with my life. And I'm thankful that I did that, because after I was able to move to Texas, which I had always wanted to do, and then got paid more, and then made sure that I kept my money practices as I had them before. I started investing. I won't give you any advice on investing at all, because that is not my arena. I have somebody else that handles all of my investments for me, because I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that. Like I know how the general concept works, but like, yeah, not enough to be giving other people advice on it. So, but as far as savings, I am the savings queen. Like I can definitely help you with that. Now, credit cards, let me tell y'all, I am also the credit card queen. I get free stuff from credit cards all the time. I have never once paid interest on a credit card, because I pay my balance off every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever the frequency in which I'm getting paid. That's how often I pay my card off. So I've never, ever given even a single penny of interest to a credit card company. So for my benefit, that works out, because I'm just reaping all those cashback rewards, free gift cards, flights. This is how I ended up on first class flights to and from Africa. Amazing experience, all off of free points and free money that I've gotten from credit cards. So that needs to be a whole separate video, because I feel like definitely people abuse credit cards, but when you use them right, amazing. So we'll get into that in another video, but I think that would definitely be something that would be helpful too for people on like a financial journey, as long as you do it in a smart way. Ooh, one more practice that I put into place is, as a staff nurse, I was getting paid once every 2 weeks, but then as a travel nurse, I was getting paid every week. So, but no matter the frequency in which I was getting paid, I always paid my bills every time that I got paid. So technically your credit card statement is only due once a month, for instance. But if I was getting paid once a week, I paid my card off once a week. Every single week when I got paid, I would pay the card off. And then same with my bills. Like on the first week, like obviously rent or your mortgage or whatever your situation is probably due in the first week. So with that first week paycheck, I pay my rent and whatever bills are due that week. The second week paycheck, pay my credit card off again, pay whatever bills are due that week. Third week, so on and so forth throughout the whole month, because I feel like that's also helpful in being able to visualize in your bank accounts how much money you actually have, and not basing off of how much money is sitting in the account right now. Because whatever money is sitting in the account, that doesn't mean you have it. Some of that money is already accounted for, you know what I mean, in your bills. So I would prefer to look at my account and see like, hey, you really only have X amount of money, instead of seeing like thousands of dollars and thinking like, oh, okay, I got some extra money to play with, when really, let's say 2,000 of that or something is gonna go to rent anyway, blank amount towards your bills, blank amount towards your credit card, blank amount towards your card, all that type of stuff. So I just like to make sure that I was paying all of my stuff on a rolling like weekly or bi-weekly basis, so that I didn't have too much quote unquote extra money in my accounts. Because I don't know, for me at least, when I log into my account and I see like, if I was seeing too much money there, I just felt like, okay, I'm rich now, like, yeah, now I can go to Chipotle twice this week, you know what I mean? Like, instead of realizing that that money has already been allotted for elsewhere. So I think that was really helpful for me too, in just having everything separated and not having to worry too much about what is where. Because in that whatever just throwaway spending account, I never had to worry about, can I spend this or can I not? Because when you log in and see that amount, that is literally the amount that you have to be able to spend on whatever you want to spend it on. So I found that super helpful for me. I was also definitely a hustler. I was a hustler in college, because I literally used to do nails. I used to make people's t-shirts, like, you know, when the cut up t-shirts were in style, I was doing those for money. I used to make those keychain things for $5, sell those. On top of that, I was like politically correct. I was helping people with some of their tutoring for some money, plus like my regular jobs. And then I always just save. So my goal is to always, like, initially it was to have like 3 months worth of living expenses saved in like my emergency bank account that I don't touch at all times. But now my goal is really like, then it had moved up to like 6 months. I'm like, okay, well, dang, if I lose my job or decide not to work or whatever, how long can I survive off of this money? Like, how long would I be comfortable not working? So then I had initially moved up to, okay, let me try to save 6 months worth of money. And then now I be trying to have like a whole year's worth of savings. Like, dang, if I can't work, at least I know that I would be good for a few months of searching for work or whatever, which is what allowed me to do this hiatus. Like, I knew that I technically had enough living expenses saved to just like vibe, which is exactly what I wanted to do, because I did not want to have to come here and work. So this is obviously not sustainable forever, but that's just how I made my transition, which is what I'm trying to show, that it's really not, in essence, it's not quote unquote that hard if you save your money and just make sure that you have, even if you don't want to give up your apartment or wherever you live, if you live with your parents or like with a roommate, that's probably even better, because if you decide to move somewhere else, your living expenses back home are not going to be much in comparison to also like how much money you would be spending wherever you're deciding to take your next venture in. And if you have remote work, or if you have a side business or something like that, you would really be set. So I know a lot of people are just like scared to get the process going, but I really think most people that don't have kids could probably make it work. Like, even if I'm thinking back to when I was not making much money, and even then I could have at least afforded to like save up over time. Like, I'm not saying it would happen in 30 days, but like, even if it took a year and a half, 2 years or whatever, at that amount of money that I was making, to be able to save 3 months worth of living expenses, then what I would have done if I wanted to go off and move is, once my year lease was up or whatever, I would have taken those living expenses and decided, okay, well, I'm gonna take a hiatus in Colombia, in Thailand, in wherever, and then at that point just kind of figure your life out. But like I said, if you have remote work or something like that, you're really set to go. I feel like there's not much you should be scared of. You just have to really do your research on the area that you're gonna go to, and find other people that they have tons of Facebook groups and stuff like that. I don't have a Facebook, but I am in some, like, not group me, that is college days, Lord, what am I saying, WhatsApp, in some WhatsApp groups that have like a bunch of people that live in all, you know, different cities and stuff like that that you're interested in living in. So I just say, honestly, make a plan, execute the plan, and try, and just literally don't be afraid to fail. Because again, if you decide to do something and it doesn't work out for you, just leave. I don't know, I feel like life is never that serious. That's just how I've always seen it. Like, people could not believe I like just picked up from like Virginia, drove all the way to Texas to move with like no family there really. I had friends there, but they're like, oh my God, like, you're so brave, how did you do that? And I don't know, I just feel like, just try it. If you want to do it, just do it. And if you get there and you hate it, just leave. It's never that serious. I feel like you just have to do the same process again. You work, you save your money, and then you have your exit strategy, and you literally kick rocks. Like, get out, just go back home, or go back with, you know, whatever your living circumstance was, if that's possible, or, you know, just find something new that will work for you. I feel like you just can't be afraid of change, because you have to be uncomfortable in order to do things that you want to do. So I don't know what else to say there. I feel like that's really it. Like, you just really have to try for what you want. So hopefully this was helpful with the saving tips. I don't even remember exactly what percentages and all that stuff that I have each different place and in each account and stuff like that, but that's just the general way that I had it setup that I've had it set up for years now that's been working for me. So hopefully it was helpful. And thank you yet again for tuning in to my TED Talk. Anyways, bye.